All right. Today, another episode. Olga, thanks for joining.
Happy to join. This is great. I'm really excited to be here and being on your episode today.
So your title is Director Global Alliances for IDeaS. So what type of global alliances do you make every day? It's like, what is that?
So it entails working with all of our technology partners. So we obviously have a revenue management, and to the revenue management to operate well, we need data and we send data. So there's a large ecosystem of technology partners that we connect with or work with. Sometimes we don't even connect with, but we're managing all of those partnerships and relationships. It's about being more connected. It's about making life easier for all the clients. So we have to have a team that manages and works with all of our partners to make that happen.
Okay, so I think that's already my first question. It's like, okay, you have revenue management at this
Mhm.
core, and now you have partners around for data in, data out. So I'm a hotel brand. I don't know, 40 hotels. I want to use revenue management. I'm coming to you and you walk me through your tech stack of this is in our core, this is the landscape, this is what you need. Like what's your answer there?
That's exactly it, right? So you have the revenue management, and then we connect with so many systems. So for the hotel, it's about, all right, so what are the systems that they have? And it starts really with the property management system. That's the key critical system, right? Because you obviously get data on a daily basis for the property management system. So it's about what is the property management system that you have, and then we connect with so many. So it doesn't matter if they have
What
several or
data
just
do you
one.
get? What data do you take from
We
them
get reservations, inventory, and that's and groups. Groups are some of the high level data that we get.
for the history and then for the future reservations or how?
Correct. History, future reservations, and then we get it every day, right? We get data 3, 4 times a day sometimes. So we get all of that data that is provided to the RMS. But we also have other data sources, right? It's important that it's not just the property management, but it's important to understand your competitor landscape. So we also get rate shopping data. We get, obviously, from you guys, we get reputation data as well. And then we get some STR data. So all of that feeds into our engine, and then with a lot of AI algorithms, we produce pricing and then restrictions, and then we send that out to other systems. So that can be the central reservation systems, the channel managers. We also do catering. We get data from the catering systems. We send back data from the catering system. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, the ecosystem. But we all connect. The importance is being well connected, making sure that we have good data, it's accurate data, and then we're able to produce the best decisions, right, for the hotels.
And so you're future looking in kind of you're predicting basically demand. And then you're saying for that demand, you have the availability prediction in this market, and you're looking, for example, per city and then competitors in the city for that specific hotel, and then you make a price suggestion. Is that, or how would you
Yes.
describe it in a
Yeah,
nutshell?
correct. We understand the demand, right, that will happen and what's happening in their market, the concept, right, in their market, and then we produce a forecast, right? So the forecast for us is super important. The performance, the accuracy of that forecast is critical, and then out of that forecast as well, we'll produce pricing for the next 265 days, but we also look at what business is coming to the hotel. So we try as well to get the best mix, right? That's what we want. So whether it's groups or individual transient, but for that hotel, because we know the demand, but we also look at when is the demand coming for what particular set of days as well. So we also optimize for that. So pricing, length of stay that we optimize for, market segments, so all of those pieces are critical so that way the hotel is able to accept, right, the best guest, the right guest at the right time for the right price. And that's really what we want going forward.
And what KPI for a hotel perspective do I optimize then for? Is it revenue total? Is it occupancy? Like, is it
All of it.
average daily room rate? Like, what do I optimize for? Because sometimes I also wonder if I'm going in a hotel, I'm paying 150, and maybe, you optimize for me for 160. Do you take F&B? spend into account there too, because if I'm in there and occupancy is high, a lot of people go to the bar and overall revenue is higher. That's why I should optimize for occupancy. But how do you think about that? It's a very complex problem, but
Well, it's all that mix, right? And really for us, the hotel set the strategy, right? They're the ones that set the strategy and their KPIs. And then the system works, right, with the hoteliers, because we always say it's a three. It's the system, it's the practices at the hotel, and then it's also the strategy, right? It's a triangle. So we want hoteliers to be super strategic to determine what they want, what are their KPIs, and then the system, well, will optimize according to that. But it's important that, we look at today the total revenue for sure, right? We want to optimize for total revenue, but sometimes you also want to optimize for profit. So there's the ability in our system to do both, depending on really the strategy again of the hotelier. So we, that's that dance. That is very important when you're using a revenue management system. And it's, we want to optimize for all of it, right? But if occupancy is important, that's we'll optimize for that. But you don't want to just focus on occupancy and then not get the maximum revenue that you could get, right? So sometimes really optimizing for revenue is important depending on the period and what's happening at the hotel and where the demand is at.
and now you mentioned like reputation management, etc. It's like partners like ours. Always I always believe, like 15 years ago when we founded the company, that the guest is looking for value, not for price, but for value. And value is quality divided by price as the equation. So if the value goes up just by same price, higher quality, value goes down, same quality, higher price. What effects, like how do you look at quality expressed by reputation data or review scores in this whole equation? How important is that today, really, versus all of the other factors like, I don't know, demand and competitors? Is it just like a one signal of many, or is it like becoming a more important signal over time? Or how do you think about that signal of quality KPIs, actually?
It's really, that's one of the factors, I think. I don't know that we have an element to weigh the importance of one versus the other, right? I think it depends on the scoring that you provide. So we have a patent, right? We developed a patent for including scoring into our engine and to algorithms to take that into account into our pricing. So that's something that we have and is quite unique to IDeaS, and this is where we value the partnership that we have. And I think it definitely has an element and it plays, right? Because if your scoring really varies a lot, then I think that will have an impact in the forecast and the pricing. If the scoring is the same, right, and it maintains and you have really a good maintenance, I don't know how much it will impact versus other factors that will be varying, right? I mean that's always a calibration that is done behind the scenes with our engine. But I think it is important, right? It is important. That's an element that is valuable in terms of how our system operates and what the value that they are, or the pricing based on some of the criteria that the hotel has and the strategy that they set.
And can you do, or do you do predictions about if you would just increase from an 83 out of 100 to an 84 score, quality score out of 100, that you could actually increase the price by X without jeopardizing your occupancy or anything else? Because
That's it.
should normally
Yeah,
be
yeah,
doable,
yeah,
right? With the data you
yeah,
have.
yeah. It's I don't know that it's like that direct of right, you do this and then you have this. We do have on our system what if scenarios, so definitely our
Mhm.
users can do that. I don't know that that's one of the I think often you look more at the pricing strategy, right? If you change the pricing from this to that, and then if you look at the demand, so there's definitely some what if scenarios that we could do. But I don't think it's as that, it's part of the mix of the what the data the engine takes in and uses on our side, right? Because there's a lot of AI as well that we have machine learning and AI in our system. So it definitely is one of the elements that is taken into account. I know that it's a direct, right? If you do this, then you'll have this. I think there's more factors that the engine takes into account.
I just have a great talk idea. So I don't know if you should.
I have a great product idea. Maybe we shouldn't.
No,
If it brings the industry forward, and so I'm always keen to, like, whatever helps, like we should do. I always wonder that I always think there are still these two worlds the revenue management world and the quality management world, and they're sometimes intersect by exchanging, like our two companies exchange some data,
Sure.
but for example, we don't take data from you, so it's like we could think of also what if
Yes.
scenarios on
Yeah.
our side if
Nope.
we have some of your
Absolutely.
data.
Yeah.
So I think that is something we should more look at broader in
For
the
sure.
industry. How do we?
For sure.
But one of the other things I wanted to ask you is like kind of okay, is the typical, probably you've heard it thousands of times, is the whole what's next, right? And we talked about personalization priced on the individual person, individual travelers, instead of bulk increases or decreases of a price. Now with the age of AI, is that moving the needle for you? What's the next frontier for you guys, especially, or from revenue management in particular?
So I think one of the areas for us, right, in terms of probably three elements in terms of the next frontier. The first one that we're seeing a lot is really more around the commercial disciplines and bringing all of those commercial discipline together. So it's how do you're talking about, us exchanging data and connecting, right, reputation to revenue management, but there's also revenue management to the marketing teams, to the sales teams, and being able to have all those teams unified, looking at the strategy and the KPIs the same way, but also sharing the data that the revenue management have. So if the revenue management is able to see in this period, there is an opportunity really to capture more market and more revenue, that should be shared with the marketing team. So that way they design a campaign to really attract, right, more revenue for the hotel. But it's also, we can also tell what is the market, right? We're talking about segments. What is the right guest that you want to attract for that particular period? So the more that we have teams exchanging, looking at data in a similar way, and then really being able to leverage each other's data and each other's teams, I think the more we're going to move forward in providing again to the guest the right experience at the right time. So I think that's definitely something moving forward that is important. The other one is, I think for me, around total revenue. You mentioned earlier, and I didn't get to answer about the F&B, being able to have that view of a guest, not just on the rooms, but as well, where are they going in the hotel? Are they consuming F&B? Or they not consuming it? Is it an opportunity to leverage, right, and to capture more of their wallet share? There's also the opportunity for the revenue management to optimize at the total revenue level and as well at the profit level, right? If we start to optimize at the profit, not just revenue, but where's the profit? As we're entering a bit of challenging times at the moment in different markets where maybe the growth is not what it has been in the last few years. But if you start to focus on the profit, and that's important as well to capture the best, right? Guests, really the ones that maybe spend more at all of your properties and what you have to offer at the property level. So those are, I think, two areas that are super important for us. And then the other one that you mentioned is as well, we're seeing more, I think, of merchandising, being able to sit in the total revenue. How do we offer them more, whether it's a bottle of champagne or a excursion? And for us moving forward is how do we also revenue management all of those elements that we can put in front of a guest, whether it's a package or a single item, so that way we also get more revenue for the property, and is really optimized for the guest that you have in front of you.
How do you get the data for a specific individual guest? And then how do you get that? And what do you send back? In this specific, like on a personalized level, is that already something you have in place,
But
or is
we
that
Yeah, what we do today is more around the market segments. Right? So for
market
us,
segments?
it's really identify groups or market segments that are coming because they have similar attributes. So that's where we're optimizing today, and I think it's really valuable. We don't get any API data today, so I think that will be something for the future in terms of, I think it's more of a profile of guests that would be coming, and therefore optimizing for certain profiles of guests and market segments is probably where we're heading rather than uh, uh, individuals coming to the property, because then you need to have obviously a lot of different data that we're not collecting today. But if you can already start with some of the profiles in the market segments, we already do, right? So that's already very powerful, but definitely more of a profile. That probably is where we're heading next.
I have another product idea on a partnership side just came up. Again, I don't know if we should keep it in the pod or not, but it's like if we do, we do. We have a CDP now, right? Kind of a customer data platform. So we're sitting on all of the guest data, and we were thinking about, and we were sending out transactional communication and marketing communication by triggering the CDP says, hey, for Olga, send out a pre-stay communication. For Olga, send out a post-stay communication. For Olga, send out a marketing communication. And then we push this data into a mailing platform like a MailChimp or HubSpot Marketing and that those are platforms that actually send it out, but we trigger the data with an API and fill in the templates, whatever you have set up. Okay. Now, why don't I just fill in a price point, for example, in this template that is specific for Olga in this example? It says, why don't you come back in June, whatever, and for you, the normal price is 260 a night, but for you, because you're a great guest and a loyal guest, we'll do it for 220. And the reason behind, I know I can do it for 220 because Olga is always eating in our restaurants, always stays up till 2 a.m. at the bar and has a lot of additional revenue and then goes to the spa the next morning. So Olga's room revenue is X, but then all of the other revenue is Y. And this together is like, it's a great customer. So why shouldn't we do that? And so coming back to the product or partnership idea is like, why don't can we send the data and saying, here's what we know about you, Olga, in this example, and please give me back what kind of suggestion of a pricing you have for that specific individual going forward in June, July, whatever, or even a specific date, because right now you're looking for something. You're in the locked in. I know you, I can identify you. I know who you are, and you want to book for these dates. So I should give you a specific price for these dates or a time zone. So kind of what do you think about that? Is that something that you think about, or is it?
So I think we've thought about, right, we just come up with a solution called Spotlight that is really for the marketing teams, and it really identifies what is the optimal period because of price elasticity, and that we should focus and target a particular marketing campaign and kind of the profile, as I said. So I think we could easily as well, if going forward, we could look at, can we send some of that data? Because if you as a system that has all of the information about your individuals, if we send you saying, hey, there's an opportunity here to capture more market for this petite profile of guests, and you could actually also do the matching on your side, right? So there's different ways of looking at it, whether I don't know that we were moving towards us getting the PI data to really be for that particular guest, but it doesn't really matter as long as we share some of the information with the marketing system that actually then, match and say, hey, within your database, we've identified 30 people that fit this particular profile that we want to encourage to come back, and therefore let's give them a good pricing. We could definitely go, I think that's a good step forward in being more personalized for sure.
Yeah, so I think my ideal scenario for the industry, I come to a website and I'm identified on the website either because I'm being logged in or for some other mechanism, and you tailor a price to me at that point. So revenue management actually changes in this scenario because it's not a group, a bulk in the future, something, and then I take the suggestion and I put it in my system. Is actually live for a future date, and it goes directly from the revenue management system into the marketing systems, right?
Mhm,
And it
mhm.
shows an individual pricing with taking all of the data that I know about you into account.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think that's kind of the future, right? If we're able for every step of the journey, from doing a search, right, online, all the way to booking, to staying at the property, and then even the after. I mean, our objective, it would be to be able to price, right, and provide dynamic pricing and restrictions every step of the way. How we do that, right? Whether we send you enough information, and then you are able, because you have the marketing engine or the booking engine, and then you're able to put the right offer in front of the guest that is coming to your website. For sure, we'd really want, absolutely, for the revenue management to be able to price all of those steps and provide the right offer at the right time. Absolutely. There's a data required and thinking required behind it, but that's definitely, I think, the view, the vision for the future, that we can more collaboratively work with all of the booking engines and marketing tools and marketing systems, and then be able to bring the right offer at the right time for sure.
Okay, cool, interesting. So one, like maybe one more question.
I was going to ask you a question about what do you see for you? Is there anything besides what we're talking? What do you see as the future around the reputation, or if the CP? I mean, you have now a tool, right, for all your guests, but what do you see next?
Well, I think the high level view I have is I think the landscape of technology, how we know it today, will change. And I think it will merge more and more together. And today we're talking still about very siloed approaches. So, as an example, we have a system that often sends out a transactional communication. Like, for example, the IDE sends out the booking confirmation often, or the PMS or whatever. It's like, but it's that part. And then I send a pre-stay with a check-in. It's done by the check-in tool. And then I send a WhatsApp during stay. It's the messaging tool. And then I send in like a marketing email, and that's the CRM tool. And at the very beginning, I have the IDE and the website. And I don't think that's going to be the same in the next 3 years. So it's not too far out. What all of these steps I think have in common is high level. It's actually a conversation that should happen. It's not really happening because it's often one way. So I send something, I cannot respond as a guest. So this is why we have this always reply as a tagline, because the booking confirmation, for example, as the first communication in my inbox has a no reply email, which
Yes,
is
that's
weird.
true.
Which is like kind of weird, right? And if I have a question, kind of, can I bring my dog? How do I ask this? Now I have to go to, I don't know, your call center, or write you another email that goes into another inbox that has nothing to do with the booking kind of sent me. So they have to look it up, who I am. So it's very, very clunky. And so I think what it should be, though, is from the very beginning, I enter your website till I stay in your place during, say, post day, pre stay, and then afterwards marketing communication. All of that should be a conversation. So I send you something, you can respond. You send me something, I respond. And that's on every channel. It's independent of the channel. It could be voice, could be email, could be WhatsApp, could be SMS, could be website. And I think that is where the AI is actually designed for. It's a conversation, it's a chat, right? Independent of the channel. So that's, I think, is going to be the future. And there, I think pricing comes into play too, because if I have a chat with you, independent on where you are in the journey, whenever you want to have a price information, at that moment, it's not have your phone number because I'm chatting with you on WhatsApp. So I know you, I know your history. I can ask about, things. So, and I think individually, I can now suggest a price to you, and you can go forward and make a booking, and that price could be very, very different than the traditional IBE pricing that is also the same maybe on the other OTA as booking.com or others, because it's very individual and you don't find that pricing anywhere else because it's just for you. And that's, I think, from pricing perspective, then dynamic pricing and dynamic offering is where we go, where we ingest that information as a knowledge for the agent that has a conversation with a guest. So it's just another layer of knowledge. So I have written, it's like not published it yet, but I've written a like internal paper where I say, I think the future is like the first stack that you think about is public knowledge for my agent, which is reputation data, right? Reviews, amenities, description, photos, all of that's public. And then
Mhm.
private knowledge for a specific guest. So private knowledge, like, hey, I know your history, I know your future bookings, I know what you did last summer, and I have a private price point for you as well. Like, and I feed that knowledge. These knowledges are fed into an agent to have a contextual conversation with you throughout the journey from when I land on your website till I have to come back the next time. So that's, I think, it's a super exciting future. And I think the connectivity and this knowledge exchange for partners like us is like, how do we give this knowledge to the agent so they can take that and use it in the conversation. So
Absolutely. Yeah, it's how do you give the knowledge and then access, right? I go back to, I mean, I live in the world of integrations, but that also, right? How do you make sure that all those systems, right, that the agent has access are all connected and they have access to that data, right? Information data produced so that way they can answer at the right time when the guest has a request. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
so it's a system. I think it's going to be a system of agents. So one agent is the price knowledge agent. So it's like it's connected to IDeaS as an example and says like, okay, now I have to get the right pricing for that customer for that, and then that gives it, and then I have it, and then gives it to the other one that just has the conversation with the guest, like, hey, give me that knowledge about the price, so I need it. So it takes the knowledge, and then it can. So I think that's how, in my mind, roughly it should work out because it's a better experience. It's
It
happier
is.
guests.
It is. And you're providing, right? If I was going back to what I was saying, like every step of the journey, right? You're
Yeah.
providing you're answering whatever the guest needs and probably putting forward some offering opportunities that they may not think about, right? But that is not when they book, but as they're arriving, yeah, you can suggest, right, other things that they may want to capitalize on or experience or use as they're
Yeah.
getting closer to their trip.
Exactly. Upselling as today is another tool,
Absolutely.
right? Is
Absolutely.
another tech stack. I think that's going to be also a knowledge for an agent that just provides
Mhm,
that
mhm.
knowledge to the customer at the right time in the conversation. So yeah, I think that is going to be a very exciting future, but a lot of work for us partners to,
A lot of work for
do the
us partners.
plumbing.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. But yeah, the plumbing and yeah, the capabilities that exist today or, will or need to be developed in order for that to happen. So quite exciting.
So a question I have on the revenue side, like revenue company side, is there are a lot of from smaller revenue management companies like to bigger ones like IDeaS. Are you guys more on the bigger brand side, and is there like is just a different level of connectivity that is there and a level of enterprise features that are needed, or is it do you provide the full stack, and how do you think about competition in there? Because you're around and very successful for a long time. Is it because
Mhm,
like
mhm.
because of what? I was like, what is the secret? Why shouldn't I do like partner with XYZ? Why should I go with IDeaS?
So we that's true. We're the leader in revenue management. I think our two founders I would probably even were at the beginning of the revenue management discipline in the hotel industry. So we have definitely history. We are offering today a solution for all whatever the needs of the hotel, we have a solution, right? So you're right that some of the more complex properties, sometimes they're resorts, right? They have specific needs. And then we have functionalities to address those needs, but we also have solutions for really the limited service hotels that have different needs that sometimes is the general manager that does it all, and therefore they also need to have a revenue management that is simple that just tells them, hey, today here's what's happening in the market. You have some actions to be taken, and they spend 20 minutes on the revenue management, and then they have to go on and do something else. So we definitely cater for all of the needs that exist in the industry. And that's kind of our journey, right? I think probably 5 or 6 years ago, we have a solution that was really for more of the advanced teams on the revenue management, but today we've innovated and provided a solution that also caters for the limited service. So for us, providing the gamut of the needs is important on the revenue management side. It's really important. And you're right, there's a lot of competition today. So we have also to demonstrate that I think for us, the promise that we've all said to our clients is that we provide a revenue management system that determines is a decision system, right? We do the pricing, we determine the pricing, we send it to all of the other systems, and there's a lot of AI, math AI, machine learning algorithms behind it. And for us, it's always been about do we provide that because there's a lot of data so that way the hotels can focus on their strategy and utilize the system and all of the data that is available today to really help them in doing the day-to-day and all of the things we don't want to be manual, but we want the system to do, and really have the hotels really focus on the strategy and the teams and delivering on their KPIs. So that's the promise that we had from the beginning. That's why IDeaS is where it is, and then we continue to be on that journey, and we're quite unique on that journey, and we continue to show the value of what the system delivers, and that's why we're still the leader, and I think we have about 98% today of clients that stay with us every year because they see the value of the system.
Do you have a feature like an autopilot where I set it up once and I click autopilot and the dream is kind of everything is being on autopilot because the perfect price being set all the time in my system. I don't have to take a look.
So we do have, this is how the system is designed, right? So we get the data, and we are very mindful about the data that we get and the accuracy, because the system will generate the decisions every
Uh,
day and will send them automatically to all of the other systems. So that's the default for us. But we also allow the user, if they know something the system does not know, if they know there's a particular event, they're changing the strategy, if they know something the system doesn't want, they can obviously override and change any pricing or any of the configuration at any point in time. So that's very important. But I would say that most of the time it is, right? The system works well, the strategy has been defined, the system has been configured based on the strategy that OTD has defined, and therefore it runs very well to actually deliver on the results. For whatever 95% or more of the time, the decisions are automatic.
okay, so you are already the self-driving car with a driver like on the steering wheel that can
Exactly.
sometimes.
Yeah. Exactly it. Like, sees, there's something here I want to change, I want to adapt my strategy, and they will do that. Absolutely.
And that is 5% only, like human roughly?
It depends. I just saying it depends on each one of the properties, how they're working. I don't know that we have an average, but I'm just giving you just an example. Don't take that number. It does. So that's what we're saying, right? Someone uses the system and then they do some overrides, and then as the trust, and that's for us is super important, as they trust the system and it delivers, then we are seeing that override go down.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Olga, anything we haven't touched that is important to touch on this topic, or
No, I think
are
it's
we
great. No, I think we covered a lot of topics. Great conversation. That was awesome.
awesome? Like, thanks a lot for being here and having the conversation with me.
Great. Yep.
And yeah, I look forward to do more with you guys, and hopefully we can do really expand the partnership as well,
The
and
first.
see how it goes.
Exactly. How do we do more, right? Exchange more data, do more for hoteliers. Absolutely. Let's continue.
Awesome. Olga, I wish you all the best. See you
Thank
soon,
you. Thanks,
and
Ben.
we'll be in touch. Take
Sounds
care.
good.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.